The seated anterior delt press is a godly shoulder builder that I should have done years ago. And right now, I'll be explaining the full benefits, starting with the topic of stability. Good hypertrophy movements are stable. And when you sit down, all of that is maximized because it's no longer you who is creating all this internal bracing. In other words, the support musculature, aka the kinetic chain, upper back, glutes, entire core strength, no longer limiting factors. All you gotta do is sit on your ass and press that back into the pad. In turn, you got what Bald Omni Man likes to say, a oonga boonga lift. Pure force, pressing straight up, very little coordination and skill involved. And so what you'll find pretty much 9 out of 10 times is that when you make the switch, within a month's time now, give yourself that, you'll match and surpass your standing numbers. Because you're no longer relying on neural adaptations first. You go straight into progressive overload, aka hypertrophy of those delts. So to sum up this first point, when your body detects instability, force output goes down. Motor unit recruitment isn't as high as it could be, particularly for the primary movers being the front delts and triceps. Doesn't mean you won't get jacked from the standing version. That's how I did it for many years. But if you want the best of the best, obviously we want something that gives you stability rather than you having to create it, because another limitation is as you get stronger, it becomes more difficult to stabilize, hence the plateaus passed around your body weight or so. Now, another thing that's really important is the angle itself. You notice how when weights get difficult on the standing version, how you lean back a bit? That's because your body wants to optimize its leverages. And when you sit down, you can automatically assume that position. You know what it reminds me of? Guys who do low bar squats with their torso bent forward. It's more efficient to stay in that position than to do this wiggle action. And with the seated OHP, you're already locked into the best position for leverages, stability, and most importantly, optimally lengthening the front delt. Because contrary to popular belief, a 100% vertical press is not number one for shoulder hypertrophy. It's more of a mid-range emphasized movement. If you want to fully stretch out your delts, not only does your arm have to be pretty low, but also at a slight angle. Meaning, make sure the bench is not at a 90-degree angle. It will not be the highest possible position on that adjustable bench. One stop down, so somewhere around 80 degrees should be all you need. And just try it out. You'll feel the difference from day one. Like I did some heavy-ass OHP the other day, 185 for reps, my front delts are sore. All right, we're trying to train muscles, not movement patterns. Next, if you plan on using these as an assistance lift, know that the carryover is really high to the strict press and incline press. Why? Because it's kind of a hybrid lift. So I would also state that although far from optimal, you will get some stimulus to your upper chest of all things. But really, the main benefit is that this is slightly better than the traditional Z press, which is a lot more unstable, and the seated non-back supported overhead press, which is a great exercise, but I'm just keeping it real. Look at guys like Zydrunas Savickas, who use this exact exercise, but done off the Smith machine. He swore by it for raising the overhead press. And I would make the argument that if you strictly did the seated OHP as, say, a part of a hypertrophy block, or you just want to put on some mass for a little bit, no doubt that when you specialize back to the standing version, you're going to get some lifetime PRs. And that is my personal strategy for this year. And because you're on a slight angle, it can help correct shoulder weaknesses that are prevalent on the incline bench, specifically the 45-degree angle. All right, so next time you see some bodybuilder repping over 200, know that's one bad dude. At any moment, he could produce an elite standing OHP. Also, you should know that these are better on recovery. Not because of stimulus to fatigue, but because there's less of an interference effect with the support muscles, especially the lower back. So if you're doing a full body system, upper lower, where there's gonna be some overlap, this is the preferred vertical press. You'll be stronger on your rows and stronger on your lower body days. Whatever order it may be, whether you're training the day before or after, it doesn't matter. The muscle blending effect is noticeable. Comparable to when I say, don't do free weighted rows in which the spinal rectors are involved. It's the same logic here, which also means that in terms of mobility requirements, pretty much everybody can do these safely and effectively. Don't really need that much because you're not locking weights behind you like this. It's just straight up and down. And with that said, guys, there's not much else to say about the seated anterior delt press. I hope you give it an honest shot. Could be done with a barbell, dumbbell, or Swiss bar. No matter how you do it, you're gonna get some great gains in the shoulders.